I guess I should have started off with saying this is going to be my last posting of Perfection in Los Angeles. Yes, you've heard that right. I'm not ending Perfection at all, but I am moving. My family and I are moving, and we are moving up to the Northern California area. And long story short, a number of things came up within my wife and I. Our circumstances have changed a little bit. Nothing bad, but we had the opportunity to move up to Northern California, which is great because her family or her parents are up there. But this video for me is really hard to shoot because I personally didn't want to shoot it, but I feel like I should just document this moment and what I'm feeling right now. Probably because the house is empty at this point. You know, the house, it's a small 2-bedroom house with a den. It used to be filled with baby toys, cribs, food everywhere. It's a mess. Now it's perfectly clean and there's just no one there to enjoy it with. And I feel lonely, you know, because of it. The house feels so big right now. So I'm here in my studio. It's a 200 square foot studio. It feels really nice. It feels real cozy. And I feel like I'm very comfortable here. It's the only place in this home right now that I feel comfortable in. And so I'm going to sleep here tonight. There's nothing in my house. There's literally like just hardwood floors and a few towels and some dirty clothes in the house. And then here I've got most of my gear that's still here. It's going to be packed tomorrow. And I'm going to be sleeping on this couch, which you guys may have never seen before, but it was always here. It's a 2-person sofa, and it'll just be me sleeping on a towel for a pillow. You know, even though my wife and I, we feel like we are ready to move on to our new home, and we're ready to leave Los Angeles behind. Los Angeles has brought so many amazing things, and some of the best years of my life. Starting with having my kids. All 3 of my kids were born here in LA in this home. Not literally in this home, but they were brought home a few days after they were born, and they spent Sierra spent the first 3 years of her life in this home, and the twins Hanya and Raiden spent the first year of their life in this home. And these last 3 years have been the most roller coaster, amazing, wild, and fun ride I've ever had in my life. I've never slept so little in my life, but I've never had so much fun not sleeping. It's also been some of the toughest years of our lives too. You know, this year, earlier this year, we lost our dog Roxy, and that was our first family dog, and that was definitely one of the most hardest moments we've gone through together. Just not as individuals, but also as husband and wife. But a few weeks ago, my daughter, all 3 of my kids, caught the rotavirus, which is a, you know, it's like a stomach, what you and I would refer to as a stomach flu. But for children, it can be, you know, it can be dangerous. Though all my kids are vaccinated against it, a child, Hanya, my 1-year-old twin, her infection was, or that virus really took a toll on her. So one day, all 3 of my kids suddenly had diarrhea, and they all started kind of puking a little bit. Especially Hanya, she started yakking. In the beginning, it wasn't so bad, but then by day 2, after the symptoms started, she started yakking a lot, and the diarrhea got worse. And for 2 days, she was not able to keep any food or any water down, or in for that matter. And she got so dehydrated that she lost like almost 5 pounds. She went from weighing 20 pounds or just under 20 pounds to around 15 pounds or so. And it was, to me, as a father, as a parent, one of the scariest things that can happen is you see your child or children getting so sick and you can't do anything for them. The day that we brought her into the ER, her fingers and toes and her lips were actually turning purple because she was so dehydrated. She yacked so much that day, and her diarrhea was so profuse that the doctors said we need to check her into the ER. And so my wife stayed in the ER with my child for the day, and then they actually checked her into the hospital. She ended up being in the hospital for 3 days and 2 nights, and it was the scariest thing that I had to go through at home, because I had my 3-year-old Sierra that I was caring for, and I had my 1-year-old Raiden, who is Hanya's twin, that I had to care for. So it was me caring for 2 kids, and my wife was caring for Hanya in the hospital. And there were moments where my wife would not respond to a text. She wouldn't text me for 4 to 6 hours, and I would text her and say, hey, any updates? And she would not reply. Those moments of silence were so, I mean, I can say, you know, they were like frighteningly scary, because you don't know what's happening on the other side. You don't know if, you know, if something turned for the worse and Hanya is getting emergency treatments or something like that. Because I would get photos from my wife, and Hanya looked terrible. She looked like a rag doll. She was skin and bones, and for the 3 days that she was in the hospital, she didn't keep any of the liquids in. It wasn't until like day 3 or the second night or something like that, after the second night, that Hanya was able to keep food down, and her diarrhea slowed down just a little bit. Fast forward a few days, it was Mother's Day weekend on a Sunday, and later that afternoon, the doctors said that Hanya can go home. So we bring Hanya home, and halfway through the ride, Hanya just yaks so much food and so much milk, and food came back up. We're thinking, how is this possible? You know, like, what just happened? The doctors said she's okay to go home, and here she is yakking up everything that she took in that morning, that day. And we're thinking, did we make the right call taking her home? You know, could we, or should we have kept her in the hospital for another day or two? These questions go through your mind, and I'm just thinking, how much more can my little girl take? We finally managed to bring her home, and there's just puke all over the car seat and all over her clothes. We wash her, we clean her up, and then my wife tries to breastfeed her, and she yaks all of the food, or all of the milk that she just drank. It was really hard to see. And by this time, I've had no sleep for the last few days. You know, caring for the twins, caring for the twin brother Raiden and Sierra. And I'm tired. My wife is tired. Everyone's tired. All the kids were sick. The next day, thankfully, after the day, she had a good night's rest that night, and being in her own bed, I think that helped a lot. She was able to eat breakfast. She kept some food down. But for the next 3 days after we brought Hanya home, she was not able to lift her head at all. And it wasn't until day 4 where she was able to sit up and take a step in her crib. So for a week, Hanya was not able to crack a smile at home. It was really bad. And, you know, every day we wake her up, we feed her, and right after the feeding, she's too exhausted to sit or do anything else, so we would lay her back in her crib and just let her sleep. And you can tell she's not comfortable because she moans and she yells sometimes when she's laying there, and it was just so hard to see your 1-year-old little girl go through that. It's been a couple of weeks since that has kind of all gone down, and all 3 of my kids they have recovered well, and Hanya is back to her normal self. She's still a little underweight. She's still a little skinny right now, and doctors say that's going to take quite some time for her to regain all that weight. you're looking at 3 to 4 weeks before she kind of fills back in and becomes her normal self again, before that whole incident happened. So we were literally trapped in LA. We were not able to leave LA because the kids were too sick, and once we brought Hanya home, she was too weak to be in the car for 8 hours to drive from LA to the Sacramento area. And it was just, my wife and I were so tired, and we were so discouraged, and we were so confused and exhausted. We're like, we need to leave this house. The house has got lead. It could have mold, and my kids were always getting sick. Sierra always had these breathing issues, and we think it's the house, but we couldn't confirm it. And so, just when we thought we were all packed and ready to go, Hanya gets hospitalized, and we're thinking, is this a cruel joke? Is God playing a cruel joke on us? And this is not a complaint by any means. I mean, this is more just me kind of therapy for myself to kind of process everything that I've gone through these last few weeks. So I'm going to be living in Sacramento. So in case you guys are curious, I'll be in the Northern California, Sacramento area. I will be in Sacramento, but my wife has family in the San Francisco area. So on the weekends, we'll spend a lot of it in the San Francisco Bay Area, and during the week, we'll be at home. And so that's kind of where I'll be spending my time. I want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of my channel, being a part of the adventure that's happened here on my channel. And I would have never dreamed that it would be as big as it is today. And I just have nothing but thankfulness and gratitude towards all of my subscribers. You guys have been just amazing, and you have made a dream come true for this, this stay-at-home dad. So thank you to all my viewers, to all my subscribers. Thank you to all of my supporters on Patreon. You guys have really made it possible for me to do what I'm doing, and for me to expand upon what I'm doing. And I cannot thank you guys enough. And for my monthly supporters on Patreon, thank you for being a part of this journey that I've been on, which has been the most amazing journey these last couple of years. So thank you again, and I will catch you guys in the next video.